when they're finished swimming. And so usually there's 2 pairs of slippers. I don't know, this particular day it was only 1. So a lot of people know that story. But anyhow, let me just show you really quickly how I use the techniques with that particular image. So if you option click on the eye icon of a layer, it'll turn off all the other layers. Okay, so that's what I shot with the camera. Okay, and I was trying to underexpose a bit because I didn't want the highlights in the window to get blown out, and so it's a bit flat, but it's a raw file. So again, I just did the levels adjustment and then the curves and the overall hue saturation. So that's just part of my basic workflow action script. But then I decided I wanted to bring out the peeling paint on the window. So I did a special curve for that, and I've got a mask here that's just just selecting the window, and then I did a couple of little tweaks there on that. So I'm bringing out the colors there. So those were sort of extra little adjustments that I added. Okay, and then I sort of inverted that mask and just tweaked the overall contrast of the reflection there. And then and again, now I'm back to my standard part of my workflow. So this is for opening shadows. Okay, and this is adding highlight detail. Okay, and then this is mid-tone contrast. Okay, and of course each one of those has a mask, where I just painted in the areas that I wanted to affect. And then I did a couple of curves for the slippers because the slippers were sort of not really popping out. So I did a little curve here to add a little bit more detail, and then I changed the blue on those a little bit. Okay, so if you look at the 2 of those together, it just does that, and then the mask is just just that little part. Okay. And then let me zoom back out so you can see what the burn and dodge does. And of course, I would probably spend more time on something like this. I'd probably spend like a whole day working on an image like this. I'll make a couple test prints and I'll go back and tweak it. So it's you have to spend a little bit more time. But so that you can see the kind of thing I do with the burn and dodge. Okay, so I'm just changing the light a little bit. Like if you look at the slippers, I'm brightening them up a little bit so the eye goes there a little bit more. So you can do subtle changes of the light, but you don't want to do a major change. Okay. And then I just did the crop there. Okay. And actually, sorry.
What's the advantage of using your burn and dodge as opposed to, say, selecting the slippers and just doing a little curves adjustment?
Well, it's just easier. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to do for each one of these little adjustments here, I wouldn't want to have to do a curve adjustment. Okay. So the slippers, I did do one because they're sort of the main focus of the image, and that was a fairly radical curve, okay, that I did on the slippers, okay. But I wouldn't want to have to do that for each adjustment in the whole image. So that's why I just sort of used the burn and dodge thing at the very end for just little subtle adjustments, okay. Okay, and let me just show you this other one real quick. I'll just show you how I use this on a panorama. So this one's probably like my second most popular image in the gallery. Okay, now this panorama I made by hand. So basically, there's my action script up there, okay? So, and then, what you do with the panorama is you start with, so I was just sitting in my kayak, so all those rules about sticking the camera on a tripod and, that sort of goes out the window when you're in a kayak, right? But you can do these panoramas pretty much anywhere. You don't need a tripod or anything. You just make sure your horizon's about in the same place, okay? So that's, so I basically started out with that image, okay? And then I added the kayak one, and I realized that the whole kayak had to come from one image, so I adjusted the mask to do that, okay? But you can see that they're not the same tonality, okay? So then I have a little curve to adjust the tonality of each image, okay? So now they match reasonably well. And then, so I didn't use photo merge for this, because I did this in CS2, and the photo merge in CS2 is pretty bad. But the CS3 and the CS4 photo merge works most of the time, although sometimes it just doesn't work. It just whacks out, especially on wide angles. So you have to do it manually, okay? So then I'm just adding in this image over here, and then tweaking that, and then adding this one, tweaking that. So once you get all your images in there and you got them all looking reasonably uniform, then you can just do your color correction thing on top of that, okay? So again, those are those first three steps, and then this is the one for opening the shadows, okay? And it's just a little tweak on that same mask, and then this one is for adding highlight details, okay? And this is for midtone contrast, okay? And then I made a test print, and what I found out was that my shadows were pretty noisy, okay? So I just darkened it. So if you have too much noise in your shadows, the best thing to do is just to make those areas black, okay? So then I made another print like that, and that worked okay. And then just to show you how I use the burn and dodge on that one. So fairly subtle changes, okay? And then, the crop was just nipping off the end there. So. All right, well, thanks. If you have any questions, come ask it of me while I'm putting my stuff away. All right?